Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our 2025 Supporters Engagement and Appreciation Meeting. We're so happy that you could join us today and give us a bit of your time. This is a historic event. It's the first of its kind that we're having. And it's really for people who support us financially, who uphold our mission and our values and all the other ways that they contribute to Project Change, to be able to come and hear from the team and see all of the great work that we're doing. The program today is also summing our week of our Changemakers Week. So our sixth anniversary, 6 years of Project Change existing was from last Monday throughout today. And so this is the final event of the program. So we're happy that you get to be a part of it and share it. And like I mentioned, Project Change is hosting this event today, and we are an organization for the youth, led by the youth, as you hear more about as we go forward. So next, I would like to call on Ms. Kopo M. Sile, who is our acting co-international coordinator, to walk us through our mission statement, our vision statement, and our core values, and tell you more about what we stand for.
Everyone, sorry, let me drink some water. Hi, and welcome to this informational session. I'm just going to talk to us about some of our things we have going on, specifically our mission statement, our value statement, our core values, just to set you up for a good enough idea of what it is that we do. And you may or may not have heard some of this before, but I hope that I can add to that information that you already know. So for our mission statement, we are really focused on the importance of self-sustainability and most importantly, the necessary measures that needs to be taken for Liberia to become a land that sustains its people. This is the epitome of who we are. This is what brought Project Change into existence, as you will hear Mr. Jabo talk about later. From our first Changemakers workshop we had, the entire idea was we want to educate people about being self-sufficient and self-sustainable, and also highlighting that, you know what, Liberia as a country has what it takes to improve itself, and we do not need some heavenly intervention. We can work with what we have to make the change that we want to see. And so that's what we do. This is what each of our programs that you will also hear about. This is the goal of every of our programs and initiatives and everything we do. So our vision is to see that the youth realize that a sustainable future for Liberia only depends on what each individual has to offer. So we are really big on everyone has a role to play and everyone has a part to play in Liberia's development, and not wholly and solely depending on foreign aid and some, like a foreign nation giving us aid or loan or something like that. But hey, you as a person, that little girl in high school, that boy in sixth grade, you have what it takes to contribute to Liberia's future, and you are part of the development as a whole. And then we then connect all of this to help us rebuild a productive Liberia. And we use the term rebuild because we've been through 14 years of civil war. And so we are in that actual process of rebuilding after 14 years of civil war. But the foundations upon which the nation were built have been shaken since the Civil War. And so our own vision is, hey, we're trying to rebuild a productive Liberia through, like I mentioned, letting people know that, you know what, you have what it takes to offer. You are part of this as a goal, and every individual counts. Now, our core values speak more to things that we believe, to our core, as it says, and just things that we try to implement and things that we try to, can I say this, to show throughout our daily activities. And so this is less focused on programs and things, but hey, if you're a member of Project Change, or as we like to say, if you're a change maker, these are things that we expect you to be, to stand for. And one of those things is we put country before self. So we're very big on Liberia first, always. Our own interest comes second, and it is never consider if something will benefit Liberia and one of us have something conflicting to it. As change makers, we're like, okay, this is not about me at this moment, it's about the country. We also pride ourselves in upholding a culture of respect and integrity. And so this shows in how we respond to each other, how we talk to each other, how we try to talk to other people in our workplaces, outside of the organization, in our schools, and also just be people of integrity that someone can look at and say, okay, yeah, you're a respectful person. We're building this culture where young people can come into the organization or engage with us through our programs and leave being more respectful individuals and people with integrity overall. We're also very big on practicing what we preach. And this is, we're not do what I say, but don't do what I do. Is that the phrase? But we're not those people. We are very big on hey, we're saying we want to build a country that's self-sufficient and build people who are able to do what they want with the resources they have. But we ourselves are examples of that too. So each of us in the organization are very involved in our communities. We are always trying to look for ways to develop wherever we are outside of Liberia and even back home. When I say back home, sorry, it's Liberia. We were also very big on doing what we preach and not just telling people do these things, but showing it in our lives and how we interact with people in our schools and wherever we find ourselves. Another thing is failure for us is not an option. We are big on feedback and bringing it back to the table and say, hey, this did not work. What happened? Or this seems to not be working right now. How can we make sure that it works rather than just giving up and say, this is just not going to work and letting it go? And this has been very valuable to our mission in rebuilding a reproductive Liberia and just developing the youth. Because when we encounter challenges through our programs, we don't give up. We don't say, hey, we're not going to implement this program. We try to meet and talk about, hey, what went wrong? Involve the people we are serving to make it better. We're so big on being partiality is never accepted, and so we're very impartial to people. We don't discriminate, whether you based on gender, sex, religion, or whatever it is. Our programs are very inclusive. We try to reach a broad range of people as much as possible, and we try to be very accommodating for people, regardless of even things like educational backgrounds and things like that. So these are things that we pride ourselves on. And one other way this is shown also is we have those common in the organization where we say we have work hours, but it's never really work hours for anybody. It's like even people in Liberia, they have official work hours. But there are times where they work usually from 9 to 5 at the office, but people are willing to stay after 5 o'clock to do something if it needs to be done, or even during the weekend. And that is very huge because most, if not all of us, are students. And so we are also juggling, handling our personal life, our studies, and also project change. And so a lot of it is also shown in, hey, we love our country. We want to practice what we preach. And so we're going to go above and beyond every time to make sure that things get done.
Thank you very much, Ms. Saleh, for that overview. Next, I'll turn it over to Mr. Prince L. Jarbo to walk us through what it means to be a change maker and give us a bit of the history and background of Project Change.
Thank you, Ms. Nehru. And apologies earlier, I should have called on you. I want to apologize in public. I should have called on you, but I said Ms. Saleh, so I didn't mean to say Ms. Nehru. But welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. This is a very historic day for us. As Ms. Nehru emphasized earlier, this is the first time that we've done this, and it's such a bold step in a new direction. And one of the terms that you're going to hear very often throughout this presentation is a change maker. And what I find very interesting is when we started Project Change, and as if we were an idea, and we decided from an idea to become an organization, and the name just, stuck, which was Project Change. And then interestingly, as members of Project Change, as we started to kind of find an identity, what were we going to be called? Well, we're Project Change, and what do we do? We're all about positive change. So then we're change makers. Interesting, right? We did not do that on purpose. It just happened, and it was a very good thing to kind of watch unfold, even though we were not really directing that ship. And over the time, we've tried to really find specific traits that define us as change makers. Because we're not your average person. We're people who have dedicated a life of service to change a country that so desperately needs it. So some of those traits that we've identified over the years come from our very own members. And that's what we want to share with you here today on this slide. And this is from Miss Ernestine B. Cooper, who was recruited at the age of 19 years old. Let that sink in. 19 years old. She came in as a volunteer, but now she leads the team in Liberia as the highest ranking person. And you will meet her today. but this is her definition of who a change maker is. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'll just focus on the very last part because everything is building up for that. And she says a change maker is a problem solver. A change maker is a problem solver. That is not the only thing that defines a change maker, but is one of our key characteristics. So when you hear the term here throughout, know that that's why we're here. We're change makers because we're solving problems. We're not accepting what Liberia has given us, the unfortunate events that we've been through, and saying that's okay, but we're solving those problems and we're doing it at a pace that most people are not willing to do it at. So thank you. And then the change makers that are helping do this, we're going to introduce them, starting with myself and the international team. We do have a board of directors, but the board is not really part of the day-to-day mission. So today we're just focusing on people that make this mission happen day to day. And it really starts with our international team, who is responsible for fundraising and also just general oversight of the organization. So that starts with me currently. I do hold the position of the acting. That's what the A is for. We love acronyms in Project Change, by the way, but each of us will explain what those acronyms mean to not overwhelm you. So the AIC is just Acting International Coordinator, responsible for overseeing our international team. And then we have a team in Liberia. Mr. Lay?
Hello again. So I am Ms. Sele. My full name is Kopo M. Sele, and I'm the acting co-international coordinator, which is what the acronym stands for. And I'm the second highest ranking person in the international team and help oversees the team in Liberia too.
And I am Dalmonde D. Nehru. I am the International Secretary, so ISEC, that's what it's for. I also serve as the Secretary of the Board of Directors, and I'm the third highest ranking person on the international team. And so I oversee the secretarial duties on the international team, but also overseeing the Secretary of Team Liberia. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. We're super excited that you all could make it to our event today. My name is Dala T. Kokoya III. I am the International Programs Officer, IPO for short. I've been in Project Change officially in this capacity for over a year now, and I'm super excited I get to do the work that I do. A lot of what we do today, I'll get to talk to you about that later on. Yeah.
Great. Hello, everyone. I am Harold Junior. I serve as the International Technology Officer for Project Change, and I've been here for now more than a year, not even a year yet, probably about 8 months, 6 to 8 months. And within due time, we will get to share with you all of our roles and responsibilities. But I'm so excited that all of you are here today joining us.
And hello, everyone. I am Roger Abim Karman. I serve as the International Recruitment Officer, IRO. I have been with Project Change for almost 2 years, but served in this position as the acting and now newly appointed International Recruitment Officer for about 3 to 5 months, I would say. So mainly what I do is I handle the recruitment of anyone who wants to come into Project Change and be part of this amazing group of change makers. So if you're thinking about it or you know someone who's good to be a part of the crew, I'm your guy. And I also oversee the recruitment officer in Team Liberia.
Awesome. And before we turn it over to the team, one of the things that I like to highlight, or that I should highlight, is everyone on our Team International work on a volunteer basis. And how long did it take for us to get to the point that we have this many volunteers to be consistently dedicated to our mission? Well, please don't ask me because it's very traumatizing and there's a whole lot that it took for us to get here. But here we are. We have brilliant young minds that are willing to do the work that we've been called to. So now we'll switch it over to our team in Liberia.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. This is Team Liberia, and I'm Ms. Ernestine B. Cooper, the acting co-country coordinator for Project Change Liberia. So I'm basically serving as the supervisor for all members in Liberia.
So, hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Edward J. Williams, and I'm the finance officer for Project Change Liberia. And as a finance officer, I receive and execute the branch budget with the consent of the country coordinator.
Hello, everyone. I'm Evans Gibson and the Information Technology Officer of Project Change Liberia. I handle the database of Project Change Liberia and give access to people that need it at a particular time. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Diana A. Thompson. I'm the recruitment officer for Project Change Liberia. As the recruitment officer, I'm responsible for hiring and recruiting new members at my branch level.
Hello everyone, my name is Meman Duple and I'm the IT and Public Affairs Officer of Project Change Liberia. So my job is to keep the relationship and interaction between the organization and the general public.
Hi everyone, my name is Amja M. Kamara. I'm a team member of the Logistics Department at Project Change in Liberia. I assist my work supervisor in doing the reports and purchasing supplies for the organization.
Thank you. So welcome to our team.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So our history. So now we're going to walk you through on how we started, what got us here, and a part of Project Change history, thankfully, which is a privilege for me, has to do with my personal story. So in 2008, I was very much privileged to move to America. I did nothing. I was a child born into this family that had a history with America. And 2008, my mom decided that my sister and I, we migrate to America. And in the moment, I knew for sure that economically, my life had changed. I was pretty much in a better school system. I had more access to food to eat whenever, open the fridge, eat whenever I wanted. So I knew that there were economic benefits of being in America. But I quickly lost sight of that as I began to make friends with people who I shouldn't have probably made friends with. And my mother, seeing into the future, knowing that what that could potentially cost me, decided that maybe I wasn't ready to be in America. So she sent me back to Liberia to learn my lesson, quote unquote. So in 2011, I went back to Liberia to learn my lesson. I like to tell people while I was in Liberia, I attended a university of hardship because Liberia, if you don't know, is a third world country. It's very difficult. It's very hard. There are many days that I went to sleep in Liberia without even eating throughout the whole day. And I would just sleep as a way to let the days pass, right? So it's a very real problem that we're trying to change here. And while I was in Liberia, because of the relationship with my mom and I wasn't supported financially, and my dad was also not in the position to support me. So as a 13, 14-year-old child, I had to really improvise and find something to do to sustain myself. And a lot of that was using the basic technological knowledge that I gained in the sixth grade in America on how to type, how to use the computer, just turning that into an entrepreneur journey that I was able to raise some capital for myself. So I was doing that. And keep in mind, although I had a little bit of hope embedded in my heart, it was never certain that I was going to return to America at any point. My mom never guaranteed that. If anything, she made it very clear that she did not want anything to do with me. So it was very obvious. But in the midst of all of those struggles, emotional, economic, I really had this hope embedded in me. But when I would look around me every day, I saw people who were, their mindset was very much drastically different from mine. And it was the mindset that, we're in this situation because of the government. We're in this situation because of my mother, my father, whatever they brought me into, and really feeling to take responsibility and some type of ownership to change their lives. And trust me, at the time I understood, and now I understand even more, a lot of our problems stem from our ancestors, the decisions that they made with the war, so on and so forth. But what I never accept and will never accept is people saying that because of that, my fate has been destined. I am who I am. I cannot change that. That's what we're trying to change with Project Change. So that mentality really frustrated me so much so that I would be upset in my spirit. And I didn't know why. And for somebody who likes to argue, I never argue with any of these people. I never tried to convince anybody on why you should have a more positive mind. I was just frustrated in my spirit until one day I was playing basketball with my friends and everything froze. And God literally spoke to me. If you're on this call and you're not a Christian, that's okay. But the Christian God, Jesus, whoever version he came as, and said to me very audibly as everything froze around me, Prince, this is the reason I brought you to Liberia, to really understand where you came from, appreciate your heritage, and also help bring hope to these young people. In that moment, everything dawned on me. And I knew that being in Liberia was not necessarily because I was a bad kid, because I needed to get my life together. It was not about me. It was about a bigger plan that God had for Liberia, and He had privileged me to be in the position to help bring hope. And instead of being frustrated with the young people, I was very much understanding. I'm like, man, this is a big problem. If God can care about this problem, who am I to even be angry? I became a team member of those individuals. Uh, Give me 1 second. I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me still? Sorry, I'm sure what happened to my camera. But anyways, I became a friend, an ally of those young people. And right in that moment, as I received the vision, I told you before I had a little hope about returning to America. Well, when I got the vision, I had a lot of hope because I knew that me being in Liberia was just to receive this vision, that I was going to be taken out of Liberia, return to America to be developed, to find the skills, to find the resources, to come back and fulfill this very purpose. So it was very clear to me at the time. An interesting fact, within a matter of a few months, my mom started talking to me again. Some may say that it's a coincidence. I say it's not a coincidence. And she's like, "Oh, can you forgive me for not talking to you for 3 years or more?" I'm like, "Mom, I forgive you the moment the plane arrived at Liberia Airport. I was forgiving you of that point, and I just wanted to return to America." So we quickly reconciled, and she brought me back in 2015. And right away, I went to high school. I graduated. And in the midst of that, I was so still passionate every day from the day that I got the vision up to now. There's never a day I go to bed without not thinking about Liberia or without not thinking about somewhere we can make our country better. That's how much this passion is driving. So once I graduated, I'm like, what can we do? I launched a fundraiser asking people for 10,000 United States dollars to go and do something in Liberia. I wasn't sure what it was, but I wanted to do something. So then reality hit me. Out of the 10,000, we raised 400. Let that sink in. $400. For many people, that could be a time where you're like, you know what? Maybe people don't even think this is possible. Why should I think it's possible? And you would give up. But because it was a God-given vision, even I did not have the option to give up. It was never an option to me that people could give up on things that God tells them to do. And it was always find the next solution. And that's why in our core value, as Ms. Tilley expressed, failure is not an option. It's the acceptance of failure that is not an option. So then when that happened, my mentor at the time, thankfully, I had a mentor. He told me, he said, "My man, go ahead and save your own money and do this on your own time." That's all I needed. I joined the Air Force, and 3 years later, saved my own funds, flew back to Liberia, and did the first project. And I really wanted to show you guys this video, but I recorded a video of me at the airport, very nervous, like not knowing what was going to happen. Like, how can you bring hope to a group of people that really seems like they have no hope? They don't believe that anything is possible. I was nervous. I'm like, what if they reject the message? Like, what becomes of the future? And then what do I do then? But when I got there, we had the workshop talking about entrepreneurship, talking about how people can take initiative within their country, also talking about volunteerism, being able to serve and being a community member. People really love it. And some of those people are actually members of our organization today. They love it so much that it became apparent immediately that this cannot be a project. It needs to be an organization. If we want to change Liberia, if we want to really have the impact that Liberia so desperately needs, we need an institution that's going to exist after Mr. Jarboe is gone. It's going to exist after every member currently is gone, and people can continuously be grown through that system. So it was obvious, and we decided to form an organization. And in 2020, we leased a building, which is our current headquarters, and you will get to see that here shortly. And we opened our office, and we became an organization. We were not perfect. We were building as we were establishing. And then 2020, in February, we realized, hey, our mission is very focused. We want to do this specific thing with the young people so that when we groom them, which we dedicate 10 years, by the way, to develop them professionally, they can go out there and drive systemic change. But there are a lot of other things that are happening simultaneously as we have this very focused mission. There are other problems that Liberia is facing. What do we do? We're change makers, we're driven, we're passionate about these problems just as much. What do we do while focusing on our specific mission? Well, what we can do is we can empower their leaders. People that lead those initiatives are facing the same issues that we face, lacking resources, lacking the professional development that they need. So what if we had a conference that trains them, that empowers them, and then they can go back and be more effective? In that way, we're indirectly handling those issues as well. So instead of the workshop in 2020, we launched our conference specifically for youth leaders. In 2021, by that time, we had officially registered with the Californian government in America and also the IRS, and we're an international organization too. And our team was forming slowly but surely. 2022, we realized that, hey, there are people that we're going to need to reach that needs to be change makers, but they might not be interested in the academic approach, or we might not find them in the same settings that we find people who are interested in our workshops. So then our Olympics was an avenue to be able to reach those type of change makers. It was also an avenue to allow us to really celebrate our heritage, because a part of the reason people are willing to talk bad things about Liberia is because they don't love the country as they should. They forget all the history that Liberia has, and they don't take pride in those things. So our Olympics really allows us to find those identities, those things that as children we love growing up, and really take pride in them to remind us of why Liberia is the greatest country on earth. Now, you can think that's the same for your country, it's fine, but we have to be biased here, and I hope you understand. But yeah, that's where we are. And 2025, as Ms. Nehru expressed today, this month made us 6 years old. 6 years of determined young people trying to drive systemic change in Liberia. And we'll really explain to you in detail what that looks like. But that's our history. Moving on. Our cycle of change is pretty much our long-term change-making model. We tell people all the time we're into the long-term change-making business. Some of you, if you've ever donated to a nonprofit, you probably donate into a program or something that they have on a more short-term basis. For us, you're supporting, you're partnering with us, and it's a long-term change-making business. We come across young people in our workshops, and in those events, after the workshop, we recruit them. And there's only one criteria we recruit people under. And it's not even that you have to be a Liberian. That's not even the requirement. We've had people from Asia, people from America join our team. The requirement is that you need to be willing, you need to be prepared to stand at war for Liberia. And what do we mean by that? War is willing, available, and ready, no matter the challenge, to stand for Liberia and for Project Change. Once you have those traits, that's it. You can become a member. You don't have to have any professional experience, any education, just come. And we'll give you everything else you need. Just be willing, available, and ready. And then once you come, we'll teach you a lot about civic engagement. What does it mean to be involved in your community? What does it mean to serve your country? What does it mean to love your country? We teach you about that. And over time, as you gain those experiences and skills, then you're hired as a staff member. And as a staff member, you get to be reassigned between various positions: finance, information technology, as you saw people introduce themselves, public affairs, human resources. These are all transferable skills that when they leave Project Change, automatically they can be employed. The unemployment rate in Liberia, the last time I checked, was 80% or more. I'm being generous. But if you look within our organization and people are already not even 18, 19 years old, but have paid jobs, that is not normal. That is something that is not common. A lot of their peers aren't even thinking about working until they're 25, 30, 40 years old. But it's happening now. So when we give them those professional jobs, professional employable skills, over time, we're also telling them, hey, go to school. Here's your scholarship, advancing their professional careers. And we provide that flexibility for them to work part-time and continue advancing themselves, giving them networking opportunities, career guidance, mentorship. We have advisors in our organization that they can go to and talk to. The process, all of this takes years, up to 10 years that we've committed to each individual who's willing to and be available and be ready. And then lastly, after all of this development, the product is that we will groom this person who has some serious character that they can stand for, and that we can release them into the society to go ahead and drive the systemic change that we want for our country. which is to fight corruption, to fight economic stagnation, and really represent the values that Project Change has instilled in them over the years, but be very much intentional about it and know that this is the reason that they're here. But that's our organization. And if you have questions, we'll take them towards the end. But now I'll turn it over to Mr. Dala T. Kokoya. Actually, Ms. Nero, I'll turn it back to you and you can move on from there. My bad.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jabo. I hope that gives a very good and very detailed overview of our organization to everyone. And this is why we're here, really. This is the call. This is the passion that we all have and we all share to grow the youth of Liberia. And so, as Mr. Jabo was saying, I will now turn it over to Mr. Kokoya, our International Programs Officer, to walk us through our different programs and the impact that we have on the people who participate in these programs.
Hello again, everybody. My name is Dala, and it is my pleasure to walk you through two of our most important programs that we run here in the Programs and Development Department. The hope today is to be able to show you our impact over the years since Project Change was founded back in 2019. So the two programs I'll be highlighting today, our Changemakers Workshop and the Changemakers Conference. For our Changemakers Workshop, it was founded in 2019. It's a biannual program, and through that program, we really target young people that are in high schools across Liberia, and we emphasize to them and we teach them the significance of self-sustainability and what it means to have an entrepreneurial mindset. Yeah, at Project Change, we walk the talk. We don't just talk and sit back. So when we are done empowering people with the tools that they need to impact change in their schools, to be change makers, we set up a platform through our business plan competition to help them kickstart change in their own communities. The business plan competition is where they will brainstorm ideas. They will propose those ideas to us, and then we evaluate them and we fund them. I think that's an incredible initiative that we do. But what's really important about the Changemakers Workshop for us here at Project Change is the fact that it serves as a gateway into our organization, and it's almost like a long-term sustainability plan for us. I say this because there are so many members, active members of Project Change right now who are currently serving in the organization because they were recruited through the Changemakers Workshop. And I can tell you for a fact, it is our hope that, as long as this project continues to run, we will always have people who will be willing and available, to continue furthering the mission that we have here at Project Change. Like you're learning, many of us here are on a volunteer basis, people in Liberia as well. Some of them are also salaried. But the hope is that through this workshop, we'll have people who will be able to replace the next generation, who are currently here whenever, their time of service is over. Going on to our Changemakers Conference, it also occurs biannually. But for this one, we mostly target leaders of nonprofit organizations in Liberia. At Project Change, we recognize that our mission is really specific, and that is investing in the capacity of young people to be change makers. At the same time, we also recognize that there are so many other critical issues across Liberia that needs, help, that needs people to address them. And we thought to ourselves, what better way can we do this, than also investing in a wide range of nonprofits across Liberia who specialize in unique areas. And by investing in their leaders, by giving them the skills, the tools, the resources that they would otherwise not have had, we set them up for immense success. It almost creates a ripple effect, across Liberia. And that is something we're really, really proud of. And through this conference, people are learning about writing grants, conflict management, inclusive leadership, elevator pitch, all skills that they can go and take back in their own communities to impact wide-scale change. Next slide, please. So now we're about to talk about the money business. Our Project Change, our programs, a lot of what we do, comes from the help of donors and change makers like yourself, some of you who are on the call today. And we could not be more grateful that you believe in the work we do and you are supporting our mission. So since 2016 till now, we've raised over 9,000. We've raised exactly, not over. We've raised $9,578. And I want that to sink in for a bit because, like Mr. Jabo said earlier, when he first had the thought about establishing Project Change, it was something at the time that did not even seem feasible. The support wasn't there at the time. How many people even believed in the vision? But if you look on the left on our annual fundraisers in the year 2016, we have 400 over there. And I really want to emphasize this value because there were 10 people. If you look on the right on the number and donors, there were 10 people in that year who believed that Project Change was going to turn up into something, that it was going to be an organization that would benefit so many people across Liberia. Even before we were founded, these people believed in the vision. And look at where we are today. 5 years later, running strong, impacting the change that we're talking about today. That means a lot to us. But overall, what I want you to see, the trend in this data from 2016 to 2024, the money we've been able to raise, it hasn't been consistent. Some years we'll raise more money, other years we won't. And what this reflects is the fact that raising money is not an easy thing, right? It is challenging. And the reality for Project Change is that a lot of the people who donate to our programs, they're friends and family members. And the reality is, when you initially tell people about something, they're excited. They're like, yes, let's get this done. But then when you come back to the same people the other year, you'll be like, hey, we have this program running again. They're like, okay, they give them money. And then the following year, you come back to the same group of people. They're like, okay, now they're hesitant, right? Some people will not even give you that money. Some people will not even respond to your text messages. Some people will not even respond to formal communication that you will send to them. And that makes our work, really difficult. Sorry. Nevertheless, I think what I really want to drive home to everyone on the call today is the fact that we have been really committed to showing people the value in investing in our organization. And that is partly why we're even hosting this event today, to show you and give you a first-hand experience of the people whose lives are being impacted by the investment that you're making in Project Change, to see firsthand where your money is going. So that hopefully after today, when we reach out to some of you to support our programs, you will stay just as excited as you were when we first told you about Project Change, because the change that we're leading is something that actually impacts Liberia on a larger scale. Two things I want to mention real quick. I already talked about 2016. In 2022, that was when we raised the most amount of money, $2,716. And I wanted to put emphasis on that data because that year we had two programs, our Olympics and our Changemakers Conference. Because we recognized we had a lot to do, we needed to raise a lot of money. So I also wanted to be able to account for that to give you an idea of why that data is the way it is. And overall, 148 donors or change makers have been supporting this cause. And we call them change makers because we believe if you support the mission that we're working towards, you yourself, you're a change maker. And I hope that's something all of you would take pride in leaving this event today. Next slide, please. So now we'll be talking about our program's impact, the Changemakers Workshop specifically. Our macro grants, like I said earlier, this is the platform that we set up, gave money so that people can be able to initiate projects in their own communities. So you can see from 2019 to 2023, we've been steadily increasing the amount of money we're giving out to winners of our the microgrants. Now, for additional insights, since 2019, we've had 3 workshops and 57 students from 12 high schools across Monrovia have been directly empowered through those workshops. And an estimated 1,200 students or youth were indirectly impacted as well. And to contextualize that information, when I talked about people being indirectly impacted, what I mean by that is that, before every workshop, we'll have at least 3 members of Project Change who will go out to high schools in Liberia and talk about programs. That is before even people will apply. We'll tell people about the work we do. We'll tell people about the mission of the organization and why it's important for us to initiate change in Liberia. That's before the application process. So that way, a lot of students are learning about the organization, learning about why they need to have an entrepreneurial mindset, learning about why they need to be change makers. Not all of those students will apply to the workshop, and that is a reality. But we recognize that by just doing publicity about the workshop, we're still impacting the lives of young people in Liberia. And also, I want to highlight real quick that over the years, it is true that the number of schools that have participated in our workshop, every year, it's not always high. We have some years it's low, but an important statistics we wanted to present today, we've had a biannual increase of 43.75%. Now, what this data is driving home is the fact that we've been really intentional about scaling our impact and making sure every year we're having at least more participating schools and more students to benefit from the work we're doing. The next bullet point, out of 57 participants, 28% or 16 of them were recruited as members, but only 5 are active members, resulting to a retention rate of 31.25%. Now, I know for a lot of you, you may be thinking right now, if Project Change retention rate is 31.25%, that becomes a problem, right? It speaks a lot about morale, the organization's culture, but all of those interpretations, they do not apply to us because as change makers, we have set a really high standard for ourselves. We've set the standard where only individuals who are willing, available, and ready will be able to stay in the organization and initiate change. The standard is so high because the lack of the standard is what results in a lot of problems in Liberia. So we need people to be able to have that kind of high standard to be able to carry out the change that we have here in our organization. And then 11 businesses have been funded through our business plan competition. And we've been able to give out 284,000 Liberian dollars to support a lot of initiatives across Liberia. And I'll just go to the next slide real quick, and then we'll wrap things up. So for our Changemakers Conference, we've impacted 143 young leaders from 46 youth-led nonprofits across Liberia. We've had 3 conferences so far. 3.5K young people have also indirectly benefited from all of the work we're doing. And 7 projects have been funded. We've been able to give out 289,000 Liberian dollars as well. And we've had a biannual increase of 13.5% in macro grants during these conferences. This speaks a lot about where your money is going. So whether, people are taking the money that we gave them to talk about projects, about, student career guidance or health education and advocacy about teenage pregnancy across Liberia, you see firsthand that we're using the money to do a lot of things beyond just impacting young people. And we pride ourselves in partnerships as well. Beyond the work we do, we make sure we're providing professional development for people even after our programs end. So I hope today you've been able to have an overall idea about where your money is going, the impact of our programs, and we'll be more than happy to take questions as well going forward. But thank you for listening, and thank you for learning about the work we do.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kokeya, for that detailed overview, just for sharing like some of the impacts we've had, direct and indirect. Next, I will pass it on to Mr. Williams, who is the finance officer of Team Liberia, to talk a bit more about Project Change finances and how we receive money and how we spend that money, just to foster this transparency about what we're doing and all of that.
So hello again, everyone, and my name is Edward J. Williams. As previously introduced, I'm the finance officer for Project Change Liberia. So basically, I'm just going to be giving you an overview of our finances at my branch level and a bit synopsis of the organization overall. So for Team Liberia, this is just basically our income statement. So for this, it gives you a clear breakdown of our profile, our income from the prior fiscal year, that of 2023, and you see that amount of 4,595.87. And for 2024, we had 21,948.65, which is our income that we receive and the ones that we earned through the fiscal year of 2024. And overall, it's a combination of our 2023 carry forward balance and that of our 2024 income. We had the total income of $26,544.52. So this is the combined income of 2023 brought forward and that of 2024 income and earned interest. For the total expenses, we incurred $23,682.72 in the fiscal year 2024, and we had a balance of $2,861.80, which of course was brought into the current year 2025. Miss, can you please go to the next? Thank you. So for this is just this slide analyzes our income breakdown. So in 2024, we had 17.8% of our annual income that came through programs. And then we also had 2.7% that came through general funds. And we had 76.6% that came through operational funds. So the program, basically, these funds that come through the program basically is purposely for the programs that Mr. Kokeya mentioned to fund all of our programs. And like the general fund is basically funds, mostly when funds are donated to the organization, it comes through the general fund, which gives the organization the flexibility to move funds around to other fund types as the need arises. And the operational funds, this is most of the fund types that give us or that funds the organization overall, including expenses like payroll, like office supplies, and I will give you a detailed explanation of that in the next slide. But for the total expenses breakdown, we have 12.0% of our income that was used on our programs, and we have 0.7% that was used on general funds, and we have 87.3% of that was used on our operations. Next slide, please. So this is our balance sheet for 2024. So for program fund, we had a balance of 1,045.73. This was our balance for all programs. And for general funds, we had $830.41, which is most of for miscellaneous expenses, and we also had $985.66, which is the balance on our operational funds for fund types like payroll, like I mentioned earlier, funds that are used to pay our members, to purchase office supplies, things that we need to keep the organization running on a daily basis, and pay our bills like our annual rents and renew our annual licenses. So for 2024, our carry forward balance, which of course is our income carry into 2025, which is the current year, we had $2,861.80. Miss Nehru, can you please? Thank you. So this is typically how we fund our operations. So for this, it's going to give you a bit more general overview of the organization overall. So for the previous slides, it just speaks basically to Team Liberia, but this gives you an understanding of the organization overall. For the monthly donations, we have donors, people who are that they are non-organization members, people who are not part of our organization but believe in what we do and decide to donate to us on a monthly basis or when a need arises. They are about 9.9%. And non-board members, people who are members of the organization, but they are not members of the board. We have like 1.1% of these people donating to our organization, and we have board members. And 89% of our income or donations, it comes from board members. For our monthly expenses, this is how these funds are being used and how they are allotted. So basically, we have morale and welfare fund. So the morale and welfare fund is most of meetings or events that have members or external parties of up to 30 number. We provide meal or provide refreshment or whatever that is necessary at the moment to accommodate them. And we have programs, which is like 20.9%. And payroll, this one, which of course is very important as well, to keep our members for the 1.5%, and we have miscellaneous 5.9%, and we have office supplies, which is 2.1%, and we have bill funds, which is 25.8%. Like I mentioned earlier, for the bill funds, typically it's just to cover all bill-related expenses like gasoline, our annual rents, to renew licenses, ensure that we are in compliance with the government. And overall, our total contributions, we have $1,685.92, and total expenses during 2024 of $1,949.08. So now you see there's a net loss of 263.16. And somebody may be wondering, you don't have this much income, how do you intend to get a balance? And this is really important because this $263.16, at some point, if we have to face constraint, we have to hold on to other things to be able to take funds from other things to be able to cover this deficit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Williams, for your insights into Project Change finances and where we're getting our money and how we're spending it in the different fund types. So next, I will be going over what impact has Project Change had on our members internally, specifically looking at Team Liberia, because that's where our target population is, the use of Liberia. And you've heard Mr. Kokoya talk about some of that external facing impacts, but he also mentioned the workshop, for example, being a gateway into an organization. So when we get into this long-term change-making business and people are recruited into Project Change, what is the impact that is being had on them? So the first thing I like to point out is that 100% of our members started off as volunteers, and then they are hired into paid positions within 6 to 12 months. And so this is really important because we start everyone off as volunteers because we really want to teach the importance of service and of giving back to the organization and to Liberia. We talked about having that country before self in our core values, and that is one of the things that we do when people are volunteers, is that they are assigned to a specific department or committee, and they're learning how to do the tasks that are affiliated with that department or committee, but they're also we're instilling in them the core values of the organization. And so being a change maker is not just you put on a hat, you come to work from 9 to 5, and then you go home. That's it. It's really a lifestyle. And so during this time, it's a crucial part of the grooming process to, instill in people our core values, understand how we operate and all of the things that are important to Project Change. And then they can be hired into a paid position again, 6 to 12 months later. which I'll talk about more in a little bit. And so again, we see this highlight of recruiting people through our workshops coming into the organization. And so we've had a workshop from 2019. We've had 25% of our members for Team Liberia recruited from that workshop. 2021, 50%, and then 2023, 25%. We also have another workshop coming up this year, 2025, because it's every other year schedule, and we're expecting to recruit some more members on board again and bring them in as well. And so when you look at this and look at what I was just talking about, we're having people come in as volunteers and then being paid. We're bringing in high school students. So imagine your first workshop is when you're in grade 11 and you come into Project Change and you're a volunteer, and within 6 to 12 months, you are hired by the time you are in grade 12 or by the time you're graduating high school. So you're learning all of these professional development skills. You're getting other growth experiences within Project Change that makes you really stand out in the job market. That makes that in a way you can market yourself and you can go and have a productive impact within your own community overall. And so 62% of our members are in university and 100% have obtained professional certifications. Again, we really encourage people to continue their education beyond high school, take the next step, and even beyond your first college experience, also take the next step as well. It's a continuous progress, but not only through university are we pushing people to go to school, but we provide a lot of opportunities for people to obtain professional certifications. We have members go through a lot of different trainings, a lot of online courses for a couple of months. Again, just more things that they can add to their own tool bags. And so, as a programs person doing a program planning certification, as a finance person doing a financial certification, and just different programs that people can do. More about the impact on our organization and on our members. We're equally gender balanced. We also talk about partiality is never accepted as one of our core values. And so for us, this representation is really important. And I think you've seen some of that today with the mix of different people, males and females in the organization, that will believe it's important for everyone to have this opportunity coming into the organization as well. So the average age joining the organization is 19, with the youngest being 17 and the oldest being 22 at recruitment, that is. So again, just think about that. We have people as young as 17 joining Project Change, and we're grooming them, we're impacting them. And this really speaks to our mission because we're working with youth. And so the earlier we can start to change people's mindset, changing the mindset of people is very hard, especially when you live in the place where the mindset that you're trying to instill is not the one that is very popular, or is not the one that people already have as it is. So we're telling people we want to be self-sufficient, we want to make Liberia better, and we can do it on our own, collaborating with each other, but also using the resources that we have, however limited it can be. So the younger we start, impacting people, that we start instilling these beliefs in them, it really speaks to the mission. This is why we have the workshop that's geared towards high school students, and that's where we begin the process. We also see the average time in service of 26 months, with the lowest being 15 months. So some of our more recent members that were recruited, and the highest being 45 months. That's close to 4 years. Mr. Kokoya talked about our retention rate in his presentation. That's a long time to have people staying in our organization, 4 years. And we've mentioned the goal really we've set aside is to have this 10-year period where people can come into Project Change and stay. And by the end of 10 years, we believe we've given you all of the resources that we need, we can give you to then go out back into society and have a productive impact. But also your service isn't done after that 10 years. Being a change maker never ends, because we always welcome people back as well to be advisors, to be mentors to the other people that are then coming up through the ranks. And so you can see we're already building this. We're currently at 4 years. The organization is 6 years old this week. And so in a couple more years, we'll have the the first batch of change makers that we're releasing into society. And that's really an exciting thing to think about. And so we see average time in current position. So people with the roles that they're currently serving in is 13 months, the lowest being 2 months, which is our very newly appointed member for Team Liberia, and then the highest being 27 months in current position. So long term, that people are staying in the different positions that they're in within the organization. And then average time in previous position, because we move people around in different committees and departments because we want them to be well-rounded individuals. We want you to understand finances and serve in the finance department, but we also want you to have some IT knowledge and be in the ITD. And we want you to have some training knowledge, which is big in the recruitment committee. And so it's average time in previous position is about 9.8 months. And then lowest being 0 month, just with individuals that haven't made a rotation in a different department or committee yet. And then the highest being 36 months that someone has spent in a previous position and then get into a new position. But it's really important for us that members, experience different parts of the organization. And I'll talk about that a little bit more again. And so average workplaces per member, 1.6, which is just average to 2 workplaces. Workplaces mean a committee or department within the organization. So the lowest amount of workplaces being 1 and the highest being 3. And so this is really where we get our leaders, right? So when you've come into the organization and you've served in up to 3 different committees or departments within Project Change, to put that in perspectives, there's 7, so there's 4 departments or 4 committees and 3 departments. And so when you've served in about 3 of that, then we're like, yes, this person has enough organizational knowledge. They've had a long time in service with the organization. They can move on to being a leader and move on to being in the next step of their career, because being a leader means you have expertise in all of the different aspects of the organization. So this is why it's important for us. This is why we also move people around as well, so that they're getting all of those necessary skills. And then average initiatives started per member. And so we have 1, and then the lowest being 0 and the highest being 2. This means that Project Change members work with the organization. They're involved with Project Change. What else are they doing in their community? How are they using their change-making skills in their community? And so we have a lot of our members that have up to 2 other engagements that they've started on their own, again, to going back to being a problem solver, to solve an issue that they've seen come up. We have people who've started small businesses. We have people who operate different interests and platforms and, companies that they've come up with. And so it's really, really interesting to see. We're not telling people, oh, you are assigned to starting this business or you are assigned to starting this program. They just work within Project Change. They see what their peers are doing and they look within their community where there's a need, and they're also coming up with these things to do as well to be change makers. And so this is our internal impact on members, giving them necessary skills and tools and professional development and personal growth to be change makers and to go back into their community and affect change. And so next, I will call on some of our wonderful, wonderful, amazing change makers, and you can hear some stories of people's change-making journeys and how far they've come within Project Change. I turn it over to Ms. Cooper, who is our moderator, and then Mr. Gibson and Ms. Soleil. You're all welcome.
Thanks so much, Ms. Nair, for the introduction. So, hi, everyone. I'm Ernestine Blessing Cooper, and I will be serving as the moderator for today's panel discussion. So this panel discussion focuses on the transformational change that each individual experienced since they were recruited into the organization. And these individuals are the living testament of the change that the organization have instituted and inspired over the years. For our panelists today, we have Ms. Kopu Msili, who is the acting international coordinator for Team International, and Mr. Evans Gibson, who is the Information Technology Officer at Project Change Liberia. Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the privilege.
Okay, so I will start off by asking, what was your mindset about yourself and Liberia regarding self-sustainability prior to joining Project Change? Anybody can go first.
Mr. Gibson, I would like you to go first.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. So before joining Project Change, my mindset about self-sustainability was shaped by mix and a lot of uncertainty. So I believe that the potential of Liberians to become more self-sustainable and about also I saw a lot of things and challenges such as limited resources and the infrastructure issues, the resilience to foreign aid. So all of those things were things that I believe that it was really stopped me from being self-sustainable. And I felt somewhat disconnected from the last change. Yeah. So um there were a sense of wanting to make the difference, but actually I never had the means or never knew anywhere that I could go and see how best to be connected to that place that I can be or member of making a change or making a difference in my society or in my country a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Over to you, Ms. Lee.
Great answer. I don't know how I can top that, but my perspective on self-sustainability before encountering Project Change was I knew it was possible because throughout high school, so for context, I encountered Project Change when I was in 11th grade of high school in Liberia, and right now I'm a junior in college studying in the US, and so it's been a while. We joke about it, but I'm as old as the organization itself. And so it's as an 11th grade student, I was very involved already. I was doing a lot of things, but I never knew how to extend that to like a larger group of people. And so it was, hey, I know this is possible. I know, I was already a living proof of, you have the tools. Like I'm doing things and with limited resources that I have, I'm trying to do stuff. But how do I make this a possibility for other people? And so when I met Project Change, it was, so this is how. And so then Project Change was that bridge between my own interest, wanting to be a change maker and wanting to make change and wanting to make people like self-sufficient and making that a reality for a lot of people.
Nice. Thanks, Ms. Lee, for sharing. So this leads to my follow-up question. So what is your mindset about yourself and Liberia at the present moment in time? And what role has Project Change played in changing your mindset, either through participation in our organization?
I can go since you went first, Mr. Gibson. But I would say right now I am maybe someone would describe me as delusional about how much change we can make in Liberia. And so I talk to a lot of young people back home and I'm like, guys, we can do this. We've got this, and they look at me and they're like, what are you talking about? And so I am very much for we can actually make the change that we want to see. And this even extends beyond Liberia for me. When I even talk to other African students and we talk about common issues that African countries face, I tell them we can actually make the change, whether it's through our political leaders, whether it's through micro businesses, it's through just talking to someone about something that you're passionate about. And Project Change has been a huge part of that. Project Change has become my personality a little bit over time. I cannot talk to someone without mentioning that I'm a part of Project Change and this is what we do and I'm a change maker. Like Ms. Neri said, change making is a lifestyle. We're not part of an organization. This is what we do, is how we live our lives. And so that has really transferred to my personal life and how I interact with people in my academics and how I interact with my professors and things like that. And so I would say Project Change has been a really key part in it. And for me, the program that already did it was the workshop because that's how I came in. But also just every year you meet young people, especially high school students who are just passionate about change making and looking for a way to make that happen. And we are giving them that opportunity. And so that's what it's been like for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, so as for me right now, I would say I feel more empowered and capable of contributing to the change I want to see in Liberia and the self-sustainability that I've been striving for. I can see it now because I'm part of a team that is potentially driven to wanting to see that change, and I'm around a like-minded individual with the same vision. Yeah, so I feel more comfortable and confident in my ability, and I believe that I have a tangible impact now. So, and I feel like my small consistencies of my effort will grow and to a larger movement where I will see something big into this nation that we all are striving for. Yeah.
Thank you for your responses. That's really inspiring. So, what change have the organization helped you to achieve over the years since you joined the organization?
So since I joined the organization, a change bring to me is even though I didn't come through like the way the other people were recruited through the programs, like from the workshops and other stuff. So I came in as a volunteer, and through the cornerstone programs that are run, and I began as a volunteer, and some of those change are basically learning how to do a lot of things within the same network of the same space of people and relating to them professionally and seeing what income or what it would bring to the table that would change the prospect and everything about the team. And yeah, so far so good. Those things are drift me a lot, and I feel that those things, the role that I play right now, is very, very important to me because it helping me personally to grow, and also to the organization level. I'm still connected and moving with these like-minded people. Yeah, so I believe that Project Change role is guiding me on like a step going on a daily basis, and with Project Change, I believe I will achieve more and I will get or see that change that we all aspire to see or want to see our nation, Mama Liberia, and at a better place for the world to be recognized. I think Mama Liberia is a place that you can see and change makers and like-minded individuals working together to see a positive thing coming out of that country. Yeah, so that's it. Project Change is playing a great role. Yeah.
A big part for me has been a yearning for change, making wherever I am. And so outside of Project Change, I am a resident assistant on my campus. And I try to manage 73 college students and try to tell them, please be calm and just behave. And I'm also part of the International Students and Allies Association on my campus. I'm one of the co-presidents. I work with the Diversity and Inclusion Office on campus. And so it's this constant yearning for, I'm here, what can I do to make it better? I'm here, what can I do to make it better? And this has really stemmed from what I do in Project Change, and how that whole fit is not an option thing is, hey, instead of complaining about this problem, I'm in this community, I'm in this new environment, what can I do to make it better? And so this has really transferred to even my academics and how I see my classes. And wherever I am, whatever community I'm in is, hey, what can I do to make it better? How can I make it better? And then apply myself 100% to make it work. Because again, failure is not an option. It translates to what I do. And so wherever I am, whatever I try to do, I apply myself 100% and try to make it as successful as it can be and accounts for anything that may go wrong. And even if it doesn't work out the way I wanted it to be, going back to the tables and saying, hey, what went wrong? What can I do the next time to make this better? But yeah, a big one has been just a constant yearning to make an impact and make changes wherever I am.
Nice, inspiring. Thanks, Ms. Lee. Thanks, Mr. Gibson, for sharing. So my next question is, why do you enjoy working with Project Change?
Okay, so I'll go first.
Sure. Oh, wow,
Yeah,
you're
so
very okay. Very anxious to go first. Go for it.
yeah, so number one, and I would say the opportunity to empower and collaborate with young change makers. So that's number one thing making me really enjoy working with Project Change, where you'll be able to lead, you'll be able to innovate, you'll be able to drive a positive change among your fellow change maker. So it's a teamwork here at Project Change, and we are not depending on one person to do the work. So you should come on board with your innovation, your leadership ability. Yeah, because all of those things help the team to move forward. And I enjoy that because Project Change give us the space so that we can express those things that we have within us. We all work to see our best we found a suitable one that will suit everybody and work with it. Yeah, so Project Change gave that opportunity and I'm very excited for it. And yeah, I think that's one of the great things I enjoy working at Project Change. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
I'll just state the obvious reason because why would you not enjoy it? It's amazing. It's an opportunity to be a part of something bigger than myself, is how I would put it best. This is not about me. It decenters me. It makes me aware that I am a person who wants to contribute to something, but sometimes I don't have all the answers, and that's okay. And it's not always about me or what I can do, but how I can work with other people to make things better in a country that I love so much. And so it's giving me a sense of purpose that is not selfish. A lot of us have purposes that benefits our own like interests and things like that. But me volunteering for Project Change, I was talking to Mr. Dabo the other day and I was saying I'm no longer the target audience for Project Change. And we were joking about it, but it's interesting to see how I once was a target audience and I've been through the cycle of change that he spoke about, that now I am trying to identify other people who are part of that target audience and changing them. And so it's giving me just a sense of purpose and giving me something bigger than myself. I can wake up every day and know that I am contributing to change. I am building the foundations for generations to come to build off of something that we're working hard to be what we're made of. And so it's a very selfless thing to do. And it gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of, hey, this is one way I can give back to my community. So why not? And that is one thing I really love and like about my job. Not my job, I would say how would I describe it? Who I am, because it's not a job.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle.
Yeah. So if we were to sum up your change making journey in one word, what would it be and why?
Mr. Gibson, are you excited to go this time?
No, you can go ahead, Mom.
So the one time I need time to think, he says, go ahead. My one word would be selfless.
Yes.
And I would give it that term because it's giving service, it's serving, is when we have a program, even though each of us have specific things we do, like we have a program officer and a public affairs officer, but is doing that program, anyone can do anything. Is working with people who, are older than you in so many ways, besides age and experience and everything, but then still seeing them like, hey, I can learn from you and I still want to serve you, even if they're younger than you, is volunteering, doing a workshop or event to say, you know what, I'm going to collect plates from people I don't eat in. I will help to clean up after people are done, whether I'm older than them or not. And so it's really selflessness. It's just saying this is taking yourself out of the equation and totally surrounding yourself to something and surfing that thing.
Nice. Mr. Gibson.
Yeah, so for me, I would just say is what made me connected to project change or drive me more and to know to be glued to project change is just because whatever thing that they are doing here, it worth it. Yeah, it worth it in the sense like um, yes, it worth it and worth in the sense like giving my time, my effort to it, and see exactly what they are doing are things that are for the right and purpose and for the future of changing things around. I believe that it's worth it. Yeah. So even if people don't look at it to be worth it and don't consider it being worth it, but and like Mr. Jabo told the last time, even if nobody clap for you or nobody smile with you, Mama Liberia is there to be happy for you because you are doing the right thing and you are on the right path. So I believe that everything we do here is worth it. And even if nobody gave up praise right now, in the long run, as time go by, the next generation, they will realize that, oh, what these people was and this foundation, these people are trying to build here, it worth it and it means a lot. Yeah. So that's why I would just name my whole connection with Project Change that is worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Thanks, Miss Silly. So this concludes our panel discussion, and it was really amazing hearing your responses and getting to know as change makers what bound us to Project Change, knowing that we have a sense of passion and a sense of purpose to be able to achieve a common goal. Thank you. Over to you, Miss Nehru.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, ma'am.
Cooper. You're a great moderator. That's your role, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Good job.
Thank you so much to Ms. Cooper, Ms. Soleil, and Mr. Gibson for sharing with us just your experience with Project Change and your journey and what that means. So next, we have a very, very cool and awesome video for you to show you some of our other members from Team Liberia and then also our headquarters, like Mr. Jabo mentioned, you would have the chance to see. And so, yeah. We can't, you might want to share the sound. We can't hear it.
Maybe I have to unmute myself. Tell me if you can hear it now.
My name is Dinah Edonson, and I'm the recruitment officer for Project Change Liberia. As the recruitment officer, I'm responsible for hiring, recruiting, and training of new members. As one of the staff of Project Change Liberia, I would like to say a very big thank you to our partners for contributing to our organization.
Ivan S. Gibson, the Information Technology Officer of Project Change Liberia. Thank you very much for your support we gave Project Change, all of your donations. We see them, we appreciate them, and we are highly, highly grateful for everything that you do. My name is Edward D. Williams, and I'm the partner officer for Project Change Liberia. Thank you so much for your continued support towards our organization, and I encourage you to continue to support the mission and vision of Project Change Liberia. Thank you.
I know you guys get this sound in the background. Okay. Thank you.
Cool, that was cool. So thank you to everyone who participated in the video, and then a special thanks to Mr. Jones, who's our International Information Technology Officer, for coordinating it and putting all of that together. But as Mr. Williams mentioned during his presentation, we're a nonprofit and we rely heavily on donations and the support financially from all of you that are present on the call today. And so we currently have a monthly budget deficit of about $263.16 that we need you to help us make up. You know, if we're not having that deficit met, then that's key programs and key things that we can't do and expenses that we have to cut back on. And I'm sure based on all of what you've heard today, you've seen the impact of Project Change internally, externally, even indirectly to the rest of Liberia and how that spreads throughout. And so please consider donating to us. There are several ways in which you can donate, and some of this will be added to the chat room of this Zoom meeting. But one way you can donate is go to our website. There is a donate page. And you can donate either one time or you can set it up for a recurring donation. And so automatically every month, you will donate a certain amount of money to Project Change. You can also send us a check. That is possible. If you need a mailing address, just let us know. We also have an organization Zelle account for people who are in the US that you can send money to, and we'll add the website and the phone number for the Zelle in the chat as well. And if you are close, like in close proximity and live nearby, or you know you have the opportunity to see any of our change makers, we will accept like physical cash in person as well. That is another way we can donate. So any means is appreciated, and we'll get it one way or another. But yeah, to make up this deficit, it takes about $26 per month from 10 change makers. That's an easy recurring donation that we can set up. So we look forward to having your support and supporting all of the amazing work that we do. And then just some more information for people in the US as well. Like I mentioned, we are a nonprofit. Project Change also is a registered 501c3 organization. So when you donate, that has impacts on your taxes, which means you get taxed less from the government. So that's a good thing. And we do send out a yearly donation sheet to people who donate so that they can have records for their personal tax when they're doing that. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions. Reach out to any one of us who's spoken here today, or to our general support email, and we'll answer them for you. But yeah, thank you again for all of your support so far, and just everything you do to keep this organization up and running. This brings us towards the end of our program. And so next I will turn it over to Ms. Dukley, who is the Acting Public Affairs Officer of Team Liberia, who will say a word of thanks and appreciation to all of us.
Thank you, Ms. Nehru. Hello, everyone. As we come to the close of today's event, I want to take a moment to express our deepest gratitude. This gathering was a success because of each and every one of you. Your presence, engagement, and unwavering support made this conversation truly meaningful. At the heart of Project Change is a shared commitment to making a difference, and none of our work would be possible without you, our supporters. Your belief in our mission, your generosity, and your dedication fuel everything that we do. Every life we impart, every opportunity we create, and every step we take towards progress happens because of you. You are not just contributors, you are change makers, and we are deeply grateful for that. To our leaders, thank you for your vision, guidance, and relentless dedication to building a better Liberia. Your leadership inspires us to keep pushing forward, even when the challenges seem great. Mr. Priest Larmin Jarbo, we appreciate you for sharing the history of Project Change and what it truly means to be a change maker. Your reflection reminds us of the dream we share and the mission that drives us forward. A special thanks goes to Mr. Dalai Kokoya for leading us through the time of valuable insights into Project Change programs and the change we are making. Ms. Damondi D. Nehru, we applaud you for shedding light on the impact Project Change has had on its members and communities. Your words reminds us why we continue this work and inspires us to keep pushing for change. To our esteemed panelists, Ms. Kopo M. Silly and Mr. Evans S. Jones, thank you for Evans S. Gibson. Thank you for sharing your journey and for reminding us why this work matters. Your insights and experiences brings our mission to life. Ms. Ernestine B. Cooper, your skillful moderation helped shape a thoughtful and engaging discussion. Thank you. Mr. Edward J. Williams, your financial expertise reminds us of the responsibility we have to use our resources wisely, ensuring that our impact is both meaningful and lasting. We truly appreciate your contribution. And to Mr. Harold T. Jones, who worked on the video we watched today, helped capture the essence of what we do. Your effort behind the scenes do not go unnoticed, and we appreciate the time and dedication you put into this. Each of you has played a role in making today's event a success. Whether you support us through funding, advocacy, or simply by believing in our vision, you are the essential part of this movement. We are all change makers. As we move forward, we do so together with a purpose, with passion, and with an unwavering belief that change is possible. Thank you all once again.
Thanks for the
Thank
words
you
of-
very much, Ms. Dukley, for that beautiful vote of thanks and appreciation for everyone. Again, we appreciate you all so much for being here, for taking the time out of your schedule to attend and make this possible. Again, a very historic day, our first ever supporters engagement and appreciation meeting. We hope to have a lot more of these in years to come, and continuing to build this relationship with the people who are behind the scenes supporting the work that we do, and keeping an open line of communication and transparency on what we're doing, how we're impacting change. And so if you have any questions for us, we're here to provide answers, anything about the organization, a personal question for someone based on something that was said, just let us know and the floor is yours. And otherwise, you are free to be dismissed as well, but the program is officially at an end. Thank you.
Awesome. We did have one question just to get us started, and you can feel free to either unmute yourself and ask your question, or you can just send it in the group chat and we'll take it from there. But there is one sent in the group chat. I don't know, were you guys also able to see that, or was it sent to me directly?
So the question was, will there ever be an opportunity for supporters or donors to ever come and visit the headquarters or the workshops just to be able to connect with Project Change face to face?
Absolutely. I'm just going to answer that just because this is something that we have not done. So I'm not going to tell you there's a pre-established program, but we are always open to the idea of people. Whenever you have interest in Liberia, you've already sold us. You know, we're on board with it. And if depending on how soon you're trying to do that, if it's this year, we have a workshop coming up, so we can coordinate logistically and help you. Not only will you be able to be a part of that workshop, if you have any expertise that you think the youth can benefit from, we'll also give you the platform to share that with them as well. But in terms of that, while you're in Liberia, we'll connect you with people that you can tour the country as a whole, really learn about why it's critical for us to do what we do, you know, by stepping outside of our organization. So we're open to it, and it's a simple initial email, just communicating with us through that support@prochangeInLiberia.org, and we'll initiate those conversations, giving you all of the guidance you need in exploring what we do and what Liberia is all about. But yeah, for sure. Any other questions, feel free to text it, or you can unmute yourself, and we'll go ahead and share that with anybody. Or feedback as well. Maybe it's not just questions. If you have feedback and you thought this was too long, too boring, and you expected something else, this is the time as well. We'll take any feedback.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Good day, sir.
I'm Andrew T. Woto Jr. I'm very impressed by what I heard. And it's just a strange thing to see young people try to put people together from all across our country, Liberia. We really need this. And because of the impression I've had, I've long been hearing about Project Change, but today I know what you people do. So I'm going to give my support in my own meager way. But one question I have is I want to know if you people are also involved with young students across the country, the counties, with besides just Monserrado County or Monrovia.
Mr. Kokoya, do you want to speak to this? Is Mr. Kokoya still here?
Yeah, I'm still on the call. Absolutely. Mr. Woodruff, thank you so much for that question. Actually, this is something that we think a lot about, and I'm glad that you brought this up. Two things that come straight to my mind right now when you ask that question. One, the Change Makers workshop that I emphasized earlier is where we really target high school students. And I will be pretty open and transparent with you, right? A lot of our work when it comes to that conference is centered in Monrovia and like high schools around where we can reach to and like engage with the young people. So it's through that Change Makers conference that we're able to actually target young people. So I wanted to mention the conference so you have a better understanding about how we're reaching out to young people. Now, in terms of impact and what we've done over the years to expand our reach, the Change Makers Conference. Last year, we had a Change Makers Conference that, although it's geared towards nonprofits in Liberia, also affects the lives of young people across the country as a whole. For the first time in the organization history, the conference was able to reach 10 counties across Liberia. That was a huge milestone for us. Nonprofits who are working towards different goals, right, across the country, coming in Monrovia to learn about how they can better further their own mission and taking the skills, the resources, leveraging the connections that they now have to go back in their own communities and initiate change. So although our organization mission is focused on investing in young people, our conference and our workshop, there are the ways that we're able to scale that change across the country. I hope I was able to provide that clarification. If not, I'll be more than happy to talk about any other specifics that you had in mind.
That's good. I'm okay. It's good.
And I'll also come in and say, in addition to that, like it is part of our structure that Project Change hopes one day to expand and have a branch in every county across Liberia. We really want our impact and our work to be felt all across. But we're working towards that. We're not there yet. And so eventually it is coming, and we have bigger and better things in our future, in Project Change future. But yes, that is also something we think about, where we want to expand and have different branches, and just how we have now an international team and our general team Liberia that is centered in Monrovia. We want to have a team Nimba County and a team Lofa and team Grand Bassa, and have teams all across the country.
And also, I'll just come in quick to make a quick statement or a quick comment. And for everyone who probably just now hear me speak, I'm Sandy. I'm also on the Team USA. I'm not as active as I used to be, but I still kind of consider myself, part of the organization and as a change maker as well. I was quite active within the past few years, but when I started school, and school take up a lot of my time these days, so I haven't been able to stay more active as I want to. But anyway, the comment I had is just, first of all, I want to say a big thank you to Team Liberia, because yes, Team USA is the main fund, the main part of the organization. I also help raise fund, but in simple term, I'll just say you guys are the one doing the dirty work. Not necessarily dirty in a bad way, but you guys are the one doing all the hard work that we are not on ground to do. So, I'm really grateful for that. And I probably haven't met all of you guys in person. I was in Liberia in 2022 for the not the Change Maker Conference, but the Olympic Games. It was really exciting seeing seeing the youth together and seeing them play games that we all played growing up in Liberia. And I still have videos of those games. I'll probably try to send it to Prince. Maybe we can try to get it on the website. It's good memories that every time I come across this video, I feel a little emotional about it because it shows unity within us as Liberians, and it also shows a brighter future for the organization. Who knows, within the next few years, maybe some of us might not be here. You know, that's just life. You know, people pass away and stuff like that. But at least we can be grateful right now in this moment and know that we are doing things for the future Liberians, even Liberians who haven't been born yet, that they will be able to see this organization and say, wow, this is something that we're grateful for, that the early members dedicated our life to create something that we can also continue. In other words, at least we'll be able to leave a legacy behind that the future Liberians will be grateful for. So that's just my quick little comment. And again, thanks to everyone for joining the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Any other questions, comments, feedback overall? We would appreciate that now. If not, like Ms. Nehru expressed, you're officially, good to go. The meeting has come to a conclusion, unless you have a feedback for us.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Oh, sorry. Good morning. My name is Margaret. This is super fascinating for me. I'm from Ghana originally, so I'm just really, really excited to see all the great work that y'all are doing, on the continent. Hopefully, we get some change makers that change the dynamic for everyone across the continent. I had a good question about the small businesses that you've been supporting. I know a lot wasn't said about that, but I was just curious to know how that's structured. Briefly, I know you're time of the essence. Thank you.
Awesome. So Margaret, first of all, I'm glad you're able to join. I've been telling my team about you, obviously. Margaret is a PhD candidate at USC, and she's one of the people that's going to help us really tell our story in a much better way by doing some research this summer. So the fact that you were able to join and really see what you're going to be getting involved into, it's amazing. And it just made my day because I wasn't sure if you're on the call, but thank you for that. And to your question, the businesses that we started, for example, we said 5 of them were through the workshop. And then as people got recruited into our organization, we fund an additional 6 of them, so 11 total. So what happens is during the workshop, we're really telling the young people to look within their schools to find problems and things that they identify. Because again, going back to that problem solving skill, hey, what is a challenge that as a student you faced? And over the years, for example, one of them was in the library. It was Christ the King, if I remember correctly. They did not have chairs in the library to use the resources that the school had already provided, which is crazy. So sometimes we'll fund ideas like that will give them access or solve problems to things that they have. And other times it will be a business. Another school wanted to open a shop where students can buy resources. For example, they can come in and buy their sheets for tests, pencils, pens, whatever they need. And it was a business within that school that they wanted to start. So examples are that. And then when they come into the organization and we're funding them, keeping that entrepreneur spirit going, it could be something as a business. Multiple people here have started small businesses where they're selling food items in school when they go to school, or they're also selling those items in their communities. So it varies between that, whether it's directly impacting the school, because when they come as a school, they're coming 3 at a time representing their schools. So we wanted to impact their school. So the school is more encouraged to send their students. That's why we keep it specific to the school. But when they become members of our organization, they perform those things, those businesses as individuals. So then they have more freedom to operate based on what they think is necessary within their communities. I hope that answers your question. But we do require them to do performance report. For example, our programs department follows up with them and regularly holds them accountable, making sure that they are using the funds as intended. And the program department does a performance report on each of those programs, because before they get the money, we go into a memorandum of understanding with them, making sure that they understand what they're supposed to do with that money, because we know the context that we're in, people are very corrupt. And so given that, we put a lot of measures in place to prevent those things as much as we can.
Yeah, that answers my question. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else? Questions, concerns, feedback?
Okay, good evening, everybody. Samuel Neruye. First time really engaging with Project Change. Really proud of what my baby's doing with y'all. I may have a possible question around who's responsible for partnerships. I'm not sure I got to engage or see the person's name or somewhere in the presentation. But a bit about me, I'm from a tech and business development background, but I'm also a social entrepreneur. So I do have a lot of connections that I think I'll be able to connect you guys with. In Liberia, and as a nonprofit founder myself, I must commend you, Prince, for what you're doing. Really great job, really awesome story. However, that really has me so I'm looking forward to how I could support. May not be financially, but in terms of youth development and advocacy, let me know who I can speak to, and then we can have some conversations around that.
I won't let Miss Nehru answer this since I can't put her in that position due to possible conflict of interest. But I have heard a lot of positive things about you. I believe you work at the Orange Center in Liberia, the Digital Center, if I remember correctly. So thank you as well for your interest. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. And you can either contact people like Ms. Sile, Mr. Kokoya, or even myself, and we can walk you through whatever it is. For example, our upcoming workshop, if you think you have things that you would like to, that could be useful for these people to teach them about entrepreneurship, or you could even be one of our presenters on social entrepreneurship and what that looks like, because that is a topic within the workshop. So we appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback, and we're glad that you're on board as well.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And we have our
just to add to that, I have met Samuel and I can testify that he's up to that. Sam, in case you don't see the chance, it's horrible.
I got you.
Ms. Sile, I believe you're going to say something.
No, I was just gonna say that we also have our email in the chat, and I'm gonna text it to you too, Samuel, so that you can send us an email. That's the best way to reach out to us.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Ms. Nehru, back to you.
Well, I don't have anything else. It's just thank you to everyone for being here and being present, and your support and your participation as well to all of our members. Kudos to you and all the amazing things you're doing. Everyone who came out on a Sunday, I wish you a wonderful rest of your week as well. And yeah, again, you have all the ways to contact us, so just let us know if you need anything. To all of our guests and invitees and participants, I will be following up with you as well. So just ask if you have any feedback for us, anything you would like to see in the next one of these, if we have them, or just connect with us more. I will send out all of those details, but we really, really appreciate it. Again, Project Change cannot exist without all of your support as well. So thank you.